Se queda. He is home. Lionel Messi in Inter Miami through 2028. We'll dive into it, but first, Shaka, Hislop, Herculez Gomez.
Say se queda.
Why
not
not?
with the next Barcelona player. You know what that
come
means?
on. You know, it's different this
The
time.
infamous photo with Piqué and Neymar.
Yeah.
He said
Yeah,
se queda, and then he gone.
Yeah.
It's part of the joke, Herc. God, well, I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got it. Well, thanks for explaining my context, but I'm sure a lot of people at home got it. You want to tell us about your little jacket instead?
No, I don't want to tell you about my jacket.
Let's change the subject.
Yeah, you change the subject. How you doing, Shaq?
I'm all right.
Oh, okay, changing the subject. All right, let's stay on topic. Coming up on Futbol Americas, Alex Freeman joins the show. I'm excited to talk to him. And the big question, is Chucky Lozano in trouble? Has he been called by the principal? We'll get into it in just a little bit. But first things first, as I said, se queda. Lionel Messi has extended his contract with Inter Miami through the 2028 season, the team announced today. Messi joined Miami back in July of 2023 as a designated player on a 2.5-year-long contract. Now he's coming off a Golden Boot season, having scored 29 goals in 28 games. Here's Messi on the extension.
Bueno, la verdad que es una alegría poder seguir continuando acá. Empezamos desde el principio, por decirlo de alguna manera, con este sueño, con este estadio y poder ser parte, poder jugar en este estadio y vivirlo desde adentro. La verdad que es muy lindo, soy feliz desde que llegué en este lugar, así que muy contento de continuar. La verdad que con mucha ansiedad, ¿no? Con ganas de que esté terminado, de que podamos jugar acá, que podamos tener nuestro propio estadio nuevo y que la gente lo pueda disfrutar y bueno, hacer local en este estadio que va a quedar espectacular. La verdad que va a estar muy lindo.
You bring in someone like Leo, a few years ago, like we did, and then you have him stay for the rest of his career. That says something about the club, it says something about the city, but what it says is about Leo's commitment. The fact that Leo loves the city, he loves Miami, he loves playing in the MLS, he loves being in Miami and loves this club. It's a very special moment for us.
Love all around for Lionel Messi and our Lizzy Becherano, who joins Futbol Americas. Lizzy, I mean, this wasn't maybe a total shock. We know we talked to you a few months ago before this agreement was finally reached. So what did it take to finally get to this point?
Yeah, when we spoke, we mentioned it's a matter of when and not how. We knew Inter Miami was working on this deal. We knew Jorge Mas was going to do everything in his power to make sure Lionel Messi stayed and inaugurated Miami Freedom Park. It was more so a thought process of legality, getting different parties to agree on the verbiage when it came to this contract. We know it's deeply complex. It's not just any regular DP deal, not for any other club in MLS. And so getting those parties to finally agree on the language and get those final signatures to make this happen. Now it's live, now he stays, and there's no question about when and how many years heading into the MLS Cup playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Miami Freedom Park, we know that kind of surrounds a lot of this deal here as well, Shaq, but we're talking about a 2026 inaugural date. Were you surprised to see that they pushed it to 2028 with Messi?
Well, I'll be surprised if Lionel Messi lasts until 2028. The thing is, Lionel Messi was going to call his own shots as far as how long he played. If his form continues anything like what we've seen over the last couple of seasons, when it comes to an end, is his to dictate. Now, at 38 now, whether Lionel Messi is still playing at 41, again, Lionel Messi will decide. But it provides some certainty that at least Lionel Messi will be here for the opening of the stadium. It provides some certainty around his commitment to this league while he's still able to perform at this level. And I think that's welcome from not just Inter Miami, but from an MLS perspective, that they want Lionel Messi in this league. That Inter Miami aren't the only beneficiaries of having Lionel Messi signed for Inter Miami. Now, again, I think not just in terms of his own body and what he decides, but also if Lionel Messi wins MLS Cup and the World Cup in the next 12 months, nobody will begrudge Lionel Messi just saying, you know what, I've had enough, thank you very much, and walking away into the sunset, whatever that may look like for Lionel Messi. But at least we know now that he's going to be here. He's not going to be playing his trade anywhere else, in any other league, for any other club. And that's welcomed by everybody this side of the pond who were interested in Major League Soccer.
I don't think it'll be a mic drop moment and he walks away. He doesn't need it. He had it in Qatar. He could walk away right now and nobody questioned Lionel Messi. Nobody questioned his greatness. Nobody would say, yeah, but you didn't win an MLS Cup or you didn't stay for the opening of this stadium. I don't think we're going to question that. No, not whatsoever. But Lionel Messi now in this final stage of his career, as he is still a competitor, he's even more so a businessman. And the businessman in Lionel Messi knows that Major League Soccer, Inter Miami, the franchise that he is part owner of, is more valuable with Lionel Messi in it. And if he's not in it, he needs to attract, and this is where I think Lionel Messi, becomes a bargaining chip to attract the next global icon to Inter Miami. I'm with Shaq. Do I believe he's going to stay to 2028? No. But you need to have people believe. The perception matters, and the attraction matters. It could be a Neymar. It could be a Robert Lewandowski. It could be some young teenager who plays in Mexico, or it could be Lamine Yamal. The next global icon to come over here will take over. And I do also feel Apple has a big say in this. I do also feel the television network that carries the league has a say in this. And as we know, he is also an investor in that. What I mean by that is, if you buy MLS Season Pass, guess who gets a portion of that? So it behooves Messi, the businessman in Messi, to stick around to see this through.
Yeah, it's definitely a very quid pro quo relationship that we're seeing with Lionel Messi and the league. But getting into the numbers here, Lizzy, and you detail this on your article on ESPN.com, talking about how the valuations of Inter Miami have more than doubled since his arrival. So what are all these plans surrounding him in the next few years?
It's night and day for Inter Miami pre-Messi and post. And that's the new chapter that they want to commemorate by having him inaugurate Miami Freedom Park. This is not just a move in terms of a stadium. It's the new chapter of starting the club in Miami. Obviously, we know Chase Stadium is in Fort Lauderdale and what that means for the community. But starting this new chapter full of stars. Now, yes, Lionel Messi is going to be attracting some figures and he'll stay. Obviously, there's an open DP spot available for the next season. But what his contract extension means for the club is heightened value on and off the pitch, jersey sales, ticket sales, a new football community in Miami, actual 305 Miami-Dade, and a new evolution of stars. Jorge Mas, Inter Miami co-owner, said, this is going to be the team of stars. And it's not going to wait for a new mega star to take over Messi's spot. It's going to be while he's here. There's no Miami 3.0 just yet. It's Miami 2.5 with Messi and a variety of new figures that could come as soon as January.
See, if I'm Lionel Messi and I wield that type of power, I'd like concessions. I'd like to know that I'm walking into a better situation. I'd like to know that I would have more arsenal. And if you're a Major League Soccer fan, and hardcore Major League Soccer fans haven't always enjoyed Messi in their league. They don't like the fact that somebody gets treated in their league differently. This benefits everybody in Major League Soccer. If Messi's here, and Shaq and I played in Major League Soccer back in the day of 1DP, and we played back in the day of really tight salary caps. Well, if Messi says, I want to be here, but I want things to change, and I believe those were part of the discussions, I want to be somewhere where we can do something special, that's going to make Major League Soccer better. Spending, loosening those purse strings, maybe going away with some of these silly mechanisms that even Jorge Mas and the people at Inter Miami have both suffered for and complained about. will behoove everyone involved. So this is a win-win for everybody involved.
You see it this way, Shaq?
Absolutely. Listen, Lionel Messi, again, wherever he goes, crowds follow. And that benefits everybody in the league, especially whoever Inter Miami are playing against. He also kind of globally just brings this level of attention to the league, brings a number of eyeballs to the league. That also provides a platform to players playing not only a landing spot for talents, but a platform for talents in Major League Soccer to go on to other things, to maybe bigger things. So listen, I think universally this is beneficial for Major League Soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's get into the near future of things here for Inter Miami and Messi and friends here, Lizzy, because as you well know, no more Jordi Alba, no more Sergio Busquets here for the next season. What are you hearing about possible replacements for them, or maybe other friends of Messi to be joining here soon?
There are no concrete rumors yet on who will take that third DP spot. And I emphasize this as we head into the transfer window. Everybody and anybody who has some sort of connection with Messi or is a big name will be linked to this team. So we must be very careful about what we take seriously and what is just a rumor. Obviously, we know the two DP spots will be taken by Messi and Rodrigo de Paul, who joined this season on loan, but will make it to a DP spot ahead of next season. And without Jordi Alba, leaves that one very valuable spot. Jorge Mas called Messi a mega unicorn. We're not seeing another player like Messi, but he's going to do anything possible to bring in those mega stars. Who that will be is yet to be determined. And I say that again, insisting that people take these rumors very, very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely make that mental note too there, Lizzy, to be careful with everything that we're reading. But when, we think about the big names up there, but really for what Inter Miami needs position-wise, what maybe jumps out? We know on the defensive side.
Nobody wants to hear position-wise, and this.
Okay, name-wise.
Anybody
who's coming to mind?
Many people coming to mind, because I never thought that Major League Soccer would attract a Lionel Messi so close to World Cup glory, so much still in his prime, if you will, because people could say, well, it's not the same Messi. True, but Messi just led World Cup qualifying in South America. Julian Alvarez was at City. He's at Atletico. He's an amazing footballer. He didn't win the Golden Boot at World Cup qualifying in South America. All these great footballers didn't. It was Messi who won it. So Messi still very much is a prime footballer today. He might not be the best footballer today, but he's the best to ever play, and he's still a very, very elite footballer. And here he is. I never thought Rodrigo de Paul would be in Major League Soccer at under 30 years of age. I never thought we would be attracting the type of players you would attract in Major League Soccer and use it as a platform to bigger and better. Diego Gomez, Paraguayan national team, is Messi's teammate for a little over a year. He goes off to Brighton. He's in the Premier League. Benjamin Kramaski is a youth player at Inter Miami. He's at Parma now. Just won the Golden Boot at the U20 World Cup. So I never thought that we would be here to see these things, and yet we are. So today it's 3 DPs. I don't think anybody on this table or Lizzy can guarantee that tomorrow it won't be 4 or more. I think that's the way that Major League Soccer is treating this. They're treating this as a parting of the waters, a watershed moment. And that's what they've always said about David Beckham. That's always what they said about Lionel Messi. We're seeing the league change because of this player.
Will it actually happen with Messi, that watershed moment?
I guess time will tell. And like so many other things, since Lionel Messi arrived in this league, he kind of dictates that. In all honesty, I'm not sure that the league is in a position to deny Lionel Messi's own visions for Inter Miami or this league. In all honesty, as a matter of fact, you could quite easily make the argument that they bend a lot of the rules to suit. Have already started bending a lot of the rules to suit Lionel Messi's visions. But when they bear the fruit that they have for Inter Miami and this league, then yeah, listen, again, you have a talent like Lionel Messi, with all that he brings. I think you make the most of that.
Yeah, and we know that for now, we're still going to see Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, of course, Lionel Messi hang out with his friends in the postseason, Lizzy. I mean, for him, it really just feels like he's hanging out in the league with the level that we're so used to seeing from him. How is the team taking this announcement, but with the soon departure of the aforementioned Alba and Busquets? Are we getting Last Dance vibes?
We are. I think players know that a shift at Inter Miami is imminent, and they're trying to enjoy it as much as possible. We spoke to defender Noah Allen, who, by the way, Jordi Alba said reflects a lot of who he was at a young age, and said he has not had a more valuable player by his side than Jordi Alba. Noah Allen, all the other players, Tadeo Allende, Telasco Segovia, all these players want to win MLS Cup, not only for them, but truly to give Busquets and Jordi Alba the correct send-off, which is one final trophy. I'm sure for players like Luis Suarez and Leo Messi, this trophy may not necessarily be more special than those that they won together in Spain, but it is one final moment to rejoice, to live those memories, and do so celebrating instead of suffering a loss like we saw last season.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know about Last Dance vibes. I mean, Messi just re-signed to 2028. I'll tell you what, though, after the way they exited postseason last year with the 3-game series against Atlanta, I do feel very much so that Inter Miami is under a lot of pressure. And that's internal pressure because, as Lizzy said, what are you going to say to these players who have won it all? But internally, that's going to weigh heavily. And I know they have a very positive record against Nashville, and it's a 3-series event against Nashville. But this Nashville team, after being humiliated in the last match day, I think they know exactly what they want to do. And I think they know exactly how they're going to go about it. And they're going to be very physical with this Inter Miami team. And it could be Last Dance type of vibes, but they got what's in front of them, and that's going to be a very difficult battle for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we'll see if they can learn from last year. But for now, Inter Miami just really relishing the moment of having Lionel Messi signed, inaugurate the stadium. Looking forward to that and looking forward to the next time we get to talk to you, Lizzy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're seeing Alex Freeman there for a very good reason as one of the Young Player of the Year nominees for this MLS season, along with the talented Diego Luna, Obed Vargas. But again, our focus shifts to 21-year-old Alex Freeman of Orlando, of the U.S. Men's National Team. And we are so excited that you're here with us on Futbol Americas. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off with this nomination. What does it mean to be named as one of the finalists for Major League Soccer's Young Player of the Year?
I mean, obviously, it's an honor. I feel like, this summer and this season in general, it's been a great experience for me. It's been something that obviously I hoped to happen, but I didn't know it was going to happen this quick. So it's just to be grateful for everything and just be able to keep working. I'm not done yet. And now I know that the sky's the limit. So just to be able to keep working and improve every day.
Alex, you said you're not done yet. I see a very good attacking player, a player who feels like he can take creative liberties from a fullback position. Who are you trying to emulate? Was there somebody you tried to emulate as you were growing up to now being somewhat of a finished product?
Yeah, I feel like growing up, I feel like I got a lot of comparisons to Alfonso Davies in that area. And then I feel like now in the modern football, I think someone like Hakimi, who's good on both ends, that can, attack and defend. I feel like that's when hopefully I can get my my whole package and be able to do both extremely well. So yeah, definitely those two.
I mean, clearly it's working out for you, Alex, with this nomination, but we obviously know that it didn't work out for Orlando. I mean, we appreciate you joining us after what was, I'm sure, a disappointing result, ending of the season. But what are you looking forward to with this team after what you saw from them this season?
Yeah, I feel like, we looked promising a lot of the year, I feel like, the first half of the year we were probably one of the best teams in the league, and I feel like obviously the past couple months weren't the best, but I think we could see the potential of this team, and how much we can be able to just go up and be able to strive to do. So I feel like now it's just to reset our minds, I gotta focus on national team as some of the guys do. But just to refocus, and get the rest we deserve. We've been kind of busy these last 8, 9 months. So just get the rest and be able to, come on even stronger next season and hopefully win a trophy.
Alex, we'll talk about the national team in a second, but Oscar Pareja, Papi, what was a message from him after such a devastating loss versus Chicago in this postseason?
Yeah, I think the message from him was clear. I feel like we deserve more, and I think he feel like we could give more, and I feel like in this situations, obviously it's hard to go out in the first round. But I think for him, for Papi, I think it's easily just him being able to be there for us. Obviously we're all devastated, but just knowing that he's talking to us and he's be able to, continue to try to give us hope, even in our worst moments. It just makes you realize how great of a coach he is.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that confidence from him in you after your 27 starts and 30 MLS appearances. Let's dive into the national team now, because that was a very exciting summer for you. I mean, the debut, Gold Cup, playing the 90 minutes. What did that mean to you?
It mean the world. I mean, I feel like every day when I put on that jersey, it's just to be able to represent my country and be able to give it 100%, and to be able to go into that summer and start a lot of the games and play 90, it just give me that confidence boost that I think I needed, But obviously, I think it just gave me more inspiration for myself, just to be able to work even harder, knowing that I got to this point in such early time, and just be able to now continue to be able to work when I go to national team and continue to impress, and be able to work for that World Cup spot.
Alex, you're one of the few players from Major League Soccer that really made an impression on Mauricio Pochettino, and you've been involved in the last few camps. There is realistically 4 months from now into your next competitive game. Going into a World Cup year for a player trying to make an impression, how difficult do you think that will be for you, and what do you need to do? What's the plan to stay in shape?
Yeah, obviously, it's just to be able to train and be able to not only train but be able to do the extra work. Obviously in this kind of situation that I have where we're out of playoffs, it's just be able to go in and do the extra work, do the stuff that I think are my weaknesses. And just be able to go into these next camps and just give 100% and show the coaching staff of the national team just that how important I can be for the team, and how much I will do for this team, just to be able to step on the field and wear that USA jersey.
And what have those conversations with Mauricio Pochettino been like with you, Alex?
Yeah, when I first got there, I think first training, he just came up to me and talked to me about how it's Orlando and how everything. And I feel like having a coach like that could talk to you one on one, it just means so much. And to know that he has that kind of confidence in me, being able to play me all those games, it just shows me that, that it makes me want to work harder for him. It makes you want to work harder for a coach that has so much confidence in you and just give even more that you even have. So yeah.
Alex, it seemed like during the summer series when the U.S. men's national team was struggling, you guys went through a building process together, a cultural shift, if you will. And we saw a change in the U.S. men's national team in the last camp. Can you pinpoint what that change was?
Yeah, I feel like, obviously this camp will it was different. We had a lot of different guys, obviously some of the people had never been with the coaching staff before. And I think it was just different for a lot of people, and I feel like for us, it was just to be able to show that no matter who's on the field, they're going to be able to represent the crest in the right way, and be able to give 100%. So I think the summer was just, each and every one of us trying to prove ourselves, to this new coaching staff and to this new environment that we're in. And just to be able to show the world that, whatever players are playing for the US, they can have faith in them.
And Alex, you had to get comfortable fast, right? I mean, becoming the youngest player to start all the games here for the U.S. men's national team. What has that process been like for you to be able to adapt as quickly as possible and be, as Herculez mentioned, a short time away from the World Cup?
Yeah, I feel like as a professional footballer, I feel like that's one of the things you need to do in life, and just in life in general, is to adapt. I think it's something that people need to do fast, or else they're not going to be able to succeed in the way they want to do. So, for me, the way to adapt was also, on the coaching staff, for them talking to me, having video sessions, just in that space, maybe, I was playing differently than I played in Orlando, but it was good, because now I have that ability to add to my game later on in Orlando and for the national team. So I guess it's just having that situation, just being able to make the best out of it.
Yeah, and being able to make the best out of it, Alex, with your teammates. I asked you about your relationship with Mauricio Pochettino. Is there anybody in particular that you've been leaning on at the national team level?
Yeah, obviously, me and some of the young guys, I think we just automatically just come together and talk a little bit. 'Cause we've been together in youth camps and stuff like that. Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, all those type of guys. But also like the older guys, like the defenders, Chris Richards, Tim Ream. I feel like those guys, when I first came in, were one of the guys that, talked to me, the captains of the team, the ones that really had the personality to come talk to me and just see how I am, off the field, which is good. And other guys like Patrick Ajiman and Malik Tillman are also some of the guys off the field, we joke around and stuff like that. But I think it was just a good group this summer, and in the camps after, just a good group. And I'm just excited that I was able to spend time with them.
Alex, it takes a footballer some time to have everything come together. You seem within the last year to have a lot of things come together. You started playing regularly for Orlando City. You got called up with the U.S. men's national team. You started playing in a Gold Cup. Now you're somewhat of a regular with Mauricio Pochettino, and there are even European offers coming your way. Reports of Villarreal. This is pretty awesome for a kid who, when he tried out for Inter Miami, was told no thank you and went to their rival, and now all this is happening. Can you kind of describe where you're at in your life right now?
Yeah, obviously, like I said before, it's amazing how I am where I am right now. I think it's forever to be grateful for that. But I feel like those type of situations where you don't make it, I feel like it strives you to do more. And I feel like for me, it was just always knowing that, I have to do more in order to be as good as everyone else. I can't do the simple stuff. I can't do the regular stuff that everyone else is doing. So just be able to go out and just be able to work hard on and off the field every day, 100%. I feel like that's something that I'm going to do every day until even after my career. So I think it's just something that I go by every day, and just be able to do that. I think it will go a long way in my career.
Alex, I applaud your mentality and the way that you speak to. A lot of the phrases are very impressive. I mean, at 21 years old, at least I'll speak for myself, wasn't speaking that eloquently, although now it is my job. But I want to go a little bit personal here for you. We know that obviously when a lot of people talk to you, they talk about your father as well, an NFL legend. I was listening to a radio interview, a local Baltimore radio interview that you did, where you said maybe he doesn't know a lot about soccer, but he's a great motivational speaker. What has his message been to you in this transformational year?
Yeah, I feel like his message to me is just to be myself. I feel like in these type of moments, it's hard to escape, your personality, and just to be able to be yourself, and be able to, strive on that, be able to, show that to others. I feel like it's something that he always tells me. And he's a very good talker, and I think I get some of that from him. But I feel like in all, I feel like he's one of those guys that if I ever need someone to motivate me, he'll be the one to give me that talk and just be able to tell me that, you're great and you're on the field for a reason. So just go show him why you deserve to stay on it.
I could see very well why people would ask you about your father. He's a Super Bowl champion, multiple touchdowns and multiple Super Bowls. But talk to me about your mother, Rochelle Hinkle, because when we talk about athletic development, when we talk about footballing development, I kind of feel like she played a big part for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like my mom was one of those moms where I lean towards. She was one of those mentors that I can't bear to emphasize how much she meant to me. So I feel like every day I call her, every day we talk. I feel like for her and for me, I feel like it's just being so grateful that I have a woman and a mom like that in my life that's so supportive of me, and that's always, on my, on my stuff, even when I'm doing wrong, but you kind of need someone like that that's always there for you in that type of way. So, I'm always grateful for my mom and I love her so much. So just to be able to, have her in my life, and I'm just so grateful.
I love that, Alex. I'm sure she's your #1 fan, but I read somewhere that she's a Liverpool fan. How is she doing with this season?
Oh.
Ah, Lord. Yeah, we have a little, yeah, in the house is just a little tension, I can't lie. So, but it's good. It's good to have that kind of tension, especially with her. So it's good rivalry a little bit. So
I love that. Great influence for your parents. I'm sure they're so proud of you. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time with us here on Futbol Americas. We very much look forward to see what you're going to do next in your career.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Sticking with the MLS here, let's talk about Chucky Lozano. The Athletic's Tom Bogert saying the following on X. Sources, Chucky Lozano's status for San Diego's playoff run is uncertain. Situation stems from verbal altercation that happened around Lozano getting subbed out at halftime in the game against Houston. One source says Lozano needs to prove to locker room how committed he is. The burning question: is this something, nothing, or everything, Shaka?
Potentially everything. Because of Lozano's kind of high-profile status with the football club, you're going into to MLS playoffs. On decision day, San Diego had an outstanding result without him. So all signs point to why do you necessarily need him if he's going to upset a dressing room? So for Lozano, I'm not, given where we are in terms of where we are in this season, I'm not sure what's the way back for him. And and again with good result without him, I'm not sure why you maybe upset that dressing room, upset the personalities within it.
That was a must-win game, as Shaq was just telling us. They needed home field advantage. They needed to win the West. And yet they said, nah, we're good. Thank you for the disrespect. We are good. This isn't the first time Chucky Lozano has been involved in this type of indiscipline. He just got back to the Mexican national team for the same thing. Indiscipline with Jimmy Lozano, with the Mexican Federation, he gone. He comes back after he worked so hard to the Mexican national team, and now this is happening. He's the highest paid player on the team, more than $7 million a year. He wasn't their best player, was not their best player. Anders Dreyer, who is a MLS candidate, MVP candidate right now, is their best player. 9 goals, 10 assists. Great. $7 million. I don't know if that's the stats that we're looking for. I don't know if the jersey sales are up there. I don't know if the headache's up there. Mikey Varas, is a U20 coach at a youth national team level who took this team into first place in the Western Conference. I applaud Mikey Varas. That is not an easy thing to do for any coach, let alone a debutant. What he just gained in respect out of the players in that locker room is hopefully going to carry them a long way. And if it doesn't, he still did the right thing. And if I'm Chucky Lozano right now, I am praying that Javier Aguirre, Rafa Marquez, and Mexican Federation are too busy with whatever they got going on to not pay attention to this. Because you just got back to the team for the exact same reasons. Chucky Lozano, who for many years had not done much. Mexican national team, the last time we could say Chucky Lozano was 2018. Yeah. At the club level, Napoli, he left, didn't fulfill that transfer fee, that record transfer fee, even though they won. He wasn't a prime player when they won.
Remember what happened at Napoli as well, right, with Gattuso?
Of course. And it's always somebody else's fault.
Asked him to leave training.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
He's a grown man. He's 30 years of age. I'm hoping he doesn't need another call to attention here.
I want to go back to something that Herc just said about how Mikey Varas is handling the situation, because he was obviously asked about this, Shaq, and he just said, we had a situation we're dealing with internally.
Yeah. As a coach, as a player in that dressing room, that is handled perfectly. What happens within our doors stays within our doors, and it doesn't need to spill out. And mind you, that doesn't mean to say that it's going to be a slap on the wrist. It's going to be the end of Chucky Lozano's career. It could be anything in between. But what happens inside stays inside. And as a player, as a player, you respect the outward messaging. As a player, you are also looking for the inside action, what happens internally. And as of right now, he's handled this to absolute perfection from a player's perspective sitting in that dressing room.
I mean, it could be this kind of message. Xabi Alonso just had to deal with a similar situation, right? Where I think it was Vinicius Jr., correct me if I'm wrong, that was bothered about having to be subbed. Mm-hmm. And the way that he said was like, I love this passion. The players always want to be out there. But Mikey Varas, what I want to say with this, Herc, is that he didn't deny that something happened, and he didn't have this speech that we saw from
He doesn't
Xabi
need
Alonso,
to, not
for
today.
example.
And I think he handled it the right way. We're handling it internally. From his standpoint, there's nothing else to say to the press, to the outside world.
Right.
Because that's exactly the way you're supposed to handle it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what was said. I don't know the altercation. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you are upset because you come out, you are disrespecting not only your coach, the player who came in for you. You're disrespecting your teammates. Chucky Lozano may be Chucky Lozano, but you're not Anders Dyer. You're not Lionel Messi. And if you were, I'll tell you what, you probably would have played that must-win in the last day of regular season in decision day. We were here on this very network, on this very panel, when Chucky Lozano came to San Diego, and we did an over-under. It was 14.5 goals, over-under. I said Chucky wouldn't get to 10, okay? I was right by 1. He did a lot better than I thought.
He was injured, though.
That's part of being a footballer.
Yeah.
That's part of being a footballer.
I'm just saying,
it's staying on the field.
context is important.
It's staying on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that context that doesn't matter to the season ticket holder. It doesn't matter to the person who wanted to see Chucky Lozano on the final match day, and they said, nah, he's not going to be here because he's acting a fool. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He has not fulfilled his end of the bargain. I guarantee you for $7.3 million, that front office is thinking, wow.
But also to your point, Christina, I have no problem with a player being upset with being substituted. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Chucky Lozano is not the first to be upset.
You'd rather that, right?
Upsetted. He sure as hell won't be the last. But what happens from there on in? Vinicius Jr., to use the example that you made, you used, kind of kicks up a little bit of a sting. Xabi Alonso just ignores him. That's fine. Do that. But as of right now, we don't know what Lozano did within the dressing room. We don't know what was said. We don't know how animated he got, how heated it was. But if he starts, I want to use a stronger word than questioning the authority of the manager, or insulting players around him, undermining the authority of the manager, or insulting teammates, then that's got to go. The line is well and truly crossed at that point. That goes beyond being upset at being substituted and even questioning that. And that is my fear with Chucky Lozano in this instance.
Yeah.
Because being upset that you're being substituted, we've all kind of been there and all kind of acted out as a result.
I agree, Shaka. I just think there's so much history with Chucky Lozano. Endrick, the way he's acting at Real Madrid, he's a kid. You know, he's the first time this has happened to him. He's a teenager. If this was a developmental player on the San Diego team who broke out and scored some goals and he was acting this way, I'd be like, okay, I kind of get it. You know, he'll learn his lesson. He's a 30-year-old man. He's a 30-year-old man who's been to World Cups, who's been the figurehead of the Mexican national team, who's been the most popular player in a program, and at San Diego was supposed to be the face. Mikey Varas handled this perfectly. I've got
I agree.
nothing to say about Mikey Varas. I'm actually very surprised, pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see if Chucky Lozano is eventually included in San Diego's playoff run, because it's been quite the run for them this season. Mikey Varas making history already, not looking like a rookie in this league at all. I was going to say, speaking of rookies, but nope. A lot of experience on ESPN FC, available daily on ESPN+.
Take that, Stevie.
Aw, don't mess with Stevie.
That's one way to continue to announce yourself to Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah, to keep putting that hand up for the 9 spot.
Yeah, he had an assist as well coming off the bench. Listen, this game was over. I didn't recognize that version of Napoli. Not PSV's problem, not Ricardo Pepi's problem. Ricardo Pepi's problem is when he's on the field, he's got to make an impact. He's got to ask questions of players. So Peter Bosz says, okay, I have to get him on the field now because he is fit now. And if Peter Bosz is getting him on the field and he is fit, he's putting the ball in the back of the net. He's proven it for every club he's been to, sans Augsburg, but they would have their own questions about that. And with the U.S. men's national team, when he comes off the bench, when he starts, that's who he's been. So if you're Ricardo Pepi, that's who you need to continue to be. You need whatever you need to do to get the eye of Mauricio Pochettino, because in this time, he's got a shiny new toy in Farland Balogun. In this time, Haji Wright is scoring goals. This is Ricardo Pepi. He's probably the most, I would say, disrespected striker that the U.S. men's national team has had in the last 4 or 5 years, because he scores goals, because he is there for multiple coaches, and something always happens. Something always happens. Greg Berhalter doesn't take him to the World Cup. He gets injured with this coach. He comes back from injury. He scores a few goals. He leaves for the national team for quite some time. Doesn't come back. Now he's got an opportunity, but there are other players performing. It's well within his reach, well within his power.
Well within his power. But to your point about Ricardo Pepi over the last 4 or 5 years, for so long regarded as that superstar, was the player to bring off the bench to score goals. Maybe that might be an asset in one instance, but may haunt you in another.
Yeah.
And right now, going into 2026, and you look at who Pochettino's called on, and more to the point, in this last window, last international window, the performances of Balogun, Haji Wright, even Agyemang, who Ricardo Pepi is a better finisher than Agyemang, but he brings something different
Profile, yeah.
than any of the other three. So you're almost encouraged to take Agyemang because he has that physical presence that you don't get from a Balogun or Haji Wright or Ricardo Pepi, that you just get something different. And as a result, now all of a sudden Ricardo Pepi finds himself arguably third in queue, if not, again, because of the option of Agyemang, fourth. And that's a difficult task. And in a short time, to convince a coach that you're deserving of at least your place on the roster.
I can absolutely see what Shaq is talking about. Maybe many fans don't rate Patrick Agyemang, but you see the goal he scores at Derby. It's literally hung up there, and he dunks on like 2 players.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a physical presence about him. And quite frankly, this is a World Cup. The U.S. men's national team is not going to be on the front foot with many teams. There may be a situation where you're down a goal, limited time, and you need to create something. You need to just get something in there. That different profile could be on the back of Mauricio Pochettino's mind. So Ricardo Pepi, it literally, as unfair as it seems, because he's always been there, he's always been contributing, he's against the clock right now.
Yeah, and again, as unfair as it seems, it's hard to separate what we're seeing, a talented Ricardo Pepi, and the injury history that he's had in the last year too, Shaq, because it's a tight tournament, it's a short tournament, and you need your players to be, sorry, you said the players can't be at 100%, but you need them to be very well near 100%.
Correct, and available. You need to have them available and in form and scoring, well, for your strikers, and scoring goals. And while, yes, injuries is a part of this game, it's never a good time to get injured. You have to have that run of form. Because while, you know his talents, you know what he brings to the table, but until you can see that for yourself, on the field, for your team, Mauricio Pochettino has no option but to think elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. He will have an opportunity to keep proving himself this weekend at the club level. A top table match in the Eredivisie. Feyenoord facing PSV Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You can watch that on ESPN Plus and streaming live on the ESPN app. And the countdown to El Clasico continues. Some mixed news here for Barcelona. Let's start with the good, because Rafinha is expected to get the medical clearance for this weekend's clash after completing a couple of full training sessions after being sidelined for nearly a month. However, Frenkie de Jong didn't train today after what appeared to be a mild illness that prevented the midfielder from participating. Now, he hasn't been ruled out of the match, but they're obviously monitoring his situation very closely. As for his teammate Marcus Rashford, he's ready to go and caught up with our Martin Einstein.
Marcus, I see that you smile a lot. That you're having a great time.
Yeah. When like anybody, when I'm happy, I am smiling. So I'm having a good time. I am learning a lot, and I would say we as a team we are not even in our maximum yet, so we have to keep pushing and try to improve every game, every day. So we have to do this, and then when we get there, we have to stay at the top level. So we have a lot left to do this season. I think it's been an okay start, but of course this next game is a big opportunity to accelerate the process for us. So we are looking forward to this, and like any game, we just try to get the job done and try to win.
How many times have you dreamed about playing against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu with the FC Barcelona?
No, I think for me is the biggest game in football. Is a game that even for me, of course, I'm from Manchester. He's not the biggest game in England or in Manchester. So, but even for me, from a young age, we are always watching El Clasico. If there's one game to watch, is this game. So.
And playing it?
No, to play in it is of course going to be an unbelievable experience. But for me, it's about winning. So to make the experience memorable, I have to try to help the team to win. So this is the main objective, and of course, is a great team that we are playing against, and they are in really good form. So it's not going to be easy, but we will give our best to win the game.
Why is it that you have connected so well with the team, with the city, with the fans?
I don't know what it is exactly, but for me, the change, I know it's a big change, but it doesn't feel so big. I think I've come here and I fit in well with the team, and even now I still don't speak the language full. So it's something that I'm still trying to learn, and will also help the process of fitting in. So
you know what? I think you speak the language. You speak the language of football, the style, the teammates that you have.
But I have watched Barcelona, especially in the recent years, so many times, and I always felt if I was to move, this team would be a perfect fit for me. So I'm happy I am here, but still we have objectives that we must hit, and now to be with the group is a special feeling. But I hope we'll continue to get better.
A great chat, as always, from our Martin Einstein there with Marcus Rashford. Let's take it to some odds and prop bets for anytime score, considering that.
I have no idea what any of those numbers mean.
OU's over under. So,
well, that's letters.
Yeah.
I don't know what the numbers mean.
Well, that's the odds.
Over under is 3.5 goals.
Yes.
Was plus 105, Real Madrid plus.
That means the odds of Real Madrid winning this game are plus 105, and for Barcelona it's plus 210. So Real Madrid is more favored than Barcelona.
So if I put $1 in Real Madrid, what do I win?
$1.05.
Oh, okay, all right.
I love the math lessons going on here, Shaka.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I was there not too long ago.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I'm knee deep in it still. I have no idea. So it pays 3-1 for the draw?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Let's take it to book it.
Book it.
Now.
Let's do it. Is it Clasico book it time?
It is.
All right.
Herc.
Well, I'm going to pick a parlay in this one.
Okay.
Oh,
It's actually a very easy parlay. I am taking the over-under, but I'm going to take it at 2.5 goals, which is minus 330. There's a reason it's minus 330. That means it's heavily favored. And I'm going to take a Marcus Rashford, anytime goal or assist at plus 115. At this, in league play and Champions League in 12 games, 5 goals, 6 assists. Rafinha, maybe a go, but there's a big difference between being medically clear and match fit.
Yep.
So I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Marcus Rashford wherever he plays. And if I've learned anything in these games, is there's going to be goals. 16 goals in the last 4 Clásicos. So there's going to be a tendency for the over. Defensive issues with Barcelona, defensive issues with Real Madrid, the inability to maybe win the big one with Xabi Alonso, the situation right now with Lamine and Hansi Flick. I think this is going to be fireworks. I think there's going to be goals, and I think Marcus Rashford gets one.
Shaq?
I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game for all the reasons that Herc just pointed out. Keep in mind, you're talking about a Barcelona that play this suicidally high offside line, and Kylian Mbappe, one of the quickest players on the planet, in form. Not the Kylian Mbappe that we saw at the very least in the first Clasico last season, that just couldn't get his timing right. that Kylian Mbappe is long forgotten.
3 goals in that game.
And
they
right?
called back.
I mean, it was just so thin. And now he's got those timings better. He's playing with confidence, as much confidence as we've seen Kylian Mbappe for quite some time. And a very attack-minded Real Madrid, who, ever since Hansi Flick arrived, their philosophy pretty much has been, we're going to try to outscore you. So for me, I think if I'm looking for a bet out of this one, it is about the number of goals, and I go quite heavily on that. In terms of who wins it, I make Real Madrid very narrow favourites, probably because it's at the Bernabeu. Other than that, I think that these are 2 very good teams making for a classic Clasico.
I wanted to stay away from who's going to win it because
You can't stay away. You could, at least tell us.
You know that question.
I'm not asking you to put a mortgage on it.
No. Trust me, there's no more to put on it. but the thing is, Shaq, you just said it. Barcelona just won the last 4. Before that, who had won the last 4? You know, it goes back and forth. If you look at the overall history of these two, if Barcelona wins again 4-0, everything will be tied. Goals scored, goals against, wins, draws, everything's going to be even. That's how evenly matched this series has been. I just think there's so many variables leading into this. Shaq highlighted that insane suicidal high line by Barcelona, and you saw Olympiacos give them fits.
Rivals are starting to figure it out.
60th minute, there was maybe a second yellow that should have been a second yellow. That's what I'm saying.
That was the worst
That's what I'm saying. And you're playing a man up. And then there's a foul that Marcus Rashford draws where I thought it was him trying to make more contact than the actual goalie making contact that I wouldn't have called as a penalty kick. I digress. They ended up winning, but Olympiacos caused them fits. And then you see Real Madrid in this very much Jekyll and Hyde situation where they're not necessarily convinced at times against the Getafes of the world. And you've got Vinny concentrating on other things. You've got Xavi with the narrative that he can't win the big one. I don't want to touch this. I really don't want to touch it. I have no idea which way it's going to go. All I do know is there's going to be goals.
You don't want to lean maybe towards one
well,
or the other.
I'm gonna lean towards Barcelona because history has shown me that Hansi Flick understands this. And I'm gonna go with the experienced coach here. And the experienced coach is Hansi Flick, and his players from a very young age in La Masia have understood what it's like to play against that white jersey. Not a lot of new elements on this team for Real Madrid that I don't necessarily know if they have that. And I would have felt more comfortable if not for Xabi Alonso tinkering the way he did in Champions League versus Juventus and taking Arda Güler out of that natural position where he was thriving with Mbappe. So I'm a little hesitant there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because we know that Kylian Mbappe has met the moment several times, but as both of you mentioned, was called back because of that Barcelona high line. But we'll be able to see what happens this week and our coverage of El Clásico. Real Madrid versus Futbol Club Barcelona, Sunday, 11:15 a.m. Eastern. Our coverage beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, ESPN2, and the ESPN app. Yeah, I don't know where to lean with the Clasico as well because it's a Clasico, but I'm leaning a little more towards Barcelona. Xabi Alonso is still getting that really tough experience.
At the Bernabeu, though, you just...
It was at the Bernabeu last season.
Yeah,
what happened,
yeah, good point. Good point.
I'm just saying, with the Kylian Mbappe who is doing great, so his teammates now have to meet the moment with him and hold.
I mean, let's see who plays. If
Goals.
Asensio's playing on the right-hand side or in the center back position, all bets are off.
Anything can happen. We'll talk about it Monday on Futbol Americas.